Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, I needed a little bit of a break because Haku, as much as I loved him, was very intensive and very complicated, and I need a little bit of a breather before I start the next big project. So I just wanted to do something nice and simple and cute, and I saw this adorable photo on Instagram of a fluffy snake, and I was like, fluffy snake? Oh, I'd like a fluffy snake. Look at that little fluffer. He's so cute. I want a little fluffy snake. So that's what we're going to be working on today. If you happen to end up enjoying my chaos self and you like the end result and you'd like to see more videos by me, please make sure to like, sub, and comment and all those lovely things. They do really help, and when you ask, people tend to remember, so only if you like it though. Don't just randomly do it. Only if you like my crazy self. Okay, let's get started. We start off grabbing some tin foil and squishing it into the rough head shape of the snake. We do this because, one, clay is expensive, and with the inflation prices, we need to save as much as possible, and two, it's going to make the head as light as possible so it's not likely to fall over. And then once I have the head shape and the foil, I'm going to take some of my Super Sculpey medium blend clay and start pushing it all over and covering the tin foil. Once I have the base layer on, I start adding some glass eye cabochons to figure out where I want the eyes to go and how big I want the eyes to be. And for this particular boy, we wanted some very big, goofy, cute eyeballs. And as you can see based on the eyes, we're going to have to build up this head quite a bit. So let's go ahead and start doing that. And while I'm doing that, let's talk about his design choices real quick. At first, I did think about doing him like super realistic because I thought it'd be funny to have a super hyper realistic snake and then him be furry. But eventually, when I saw that fluffy snake picture, and then there's another artist who's actually done furry snakes, and I'll have them pop up here, and it was just so cute, and I was like, oh, you can't not have just like a cute furry snake. And I was just like, yep, it's gonna have to be a cute furry snake. And I'm really pleasantly surprised with how well the sculpting went and how simple it was. And this was like the perfect in-between project. Not only that, I would highly recommend this for beginners, anybody who's actually interested in making an art doll, because for one, you only gotta sculpt the head, which, you know, chef's kiss, you ain't gotta worry about feet. Two, even more so, when you go to sew, you ain't gotta worry about any limbs because he's just a long noodle. And so it's just very quick and easy, simple project. Highly recommend. Plus, it's a furry cute snake. Like, how could you not? Furry cute snake. Come on now. And with the head completely built up and the eyes attached, it's now time to work on his little nose and his adorable little mouth, which actually took me a few tries because I had difficulties figuring out which kind of expression I wanted. The first one was super happy and very big wide smile, but then I ended up going with a more like cutesy, oh, I'm just a little snake. Oh no, don't hurt me. I'm just a fluffy noodle. Like, just a I don't know how else to explain it. His little soft mouth when he was just like, oh no. I wish you guys could see I'm moving around going, oh no. I'm gonna try to find a gif of the exact thing I'm doing. Oh no. Oh no. I'm a widow snake. Oh no. I'm not even paying attention to the video anymore. I also tried to add the little sensory pits snakes have, but they ended up getting covered by the fur anyway, so don't get too attached to them. But you know that they're there. I also couldn't resist adding a little tongue sticking out, just like a little blip. Like, come on, you just can't resist that. And once that's done, he is done, and it's time for him to go in the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for roughly 30 to 45 minutes. And while we're doing that, it's time for ASMR armature time. To attach the head to the armature, I just make a hole, usually with a pair of scissors, in the back of the head, and then I'll fill that with hot glue, and then I'll just insert the ball and sockets into the back of the head, and once that hot glue cools off, those are locked in place and they aren't going anywhere. Once the head is attached, it's now time to start working on building up the body shape. And for that, I always use quilt batting. And it just comes in these really big long sheets because it's made for quilts. And I'll just cut it into really long strips, wrap it around the body over and over until the body is built up to how I want. Keeping in mind not to build up too much because whatever fabric I'm going to add, especially faux fur, is going to add a lot of additional thickness. So I want to keep that in mind. But like I always say, if you want chunk, chunk, chunk boy, you go and you get chunk, chunk, chunk boy. If you want thin, thin, thin boy, you go and you get thin, thin, thin boy. Okay, we support all body shapes and sizes here. And we were definitely going for chunk noodle. He's going to be a short, stubby chunk noodle by the end of this. Okay, it was definitely chunk, chunk, chunk boy for this one. Yes. Last video was thin, thin noodle. This video is chunk, chunk noodle. Yes, yes. Once the body's built up, it's now time to add the fluffiness aspect. And I'm going to be using white faux fur for that because I plan to airbrush all the patterns later on.
Need a fat dude. Chunky, 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 chunky. Putty, 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 putty.
Oh, I'm rolling the dough.
Oh! Okay, I'm done.
I keep sewing as simple as possible, and I just cut a piece of fabric the entire length of the doll, and then I'll trim it down so it's nice and snug around the body, but I don't want to go too tight because then I won't be able to pose it. And then I just sew straight down the middle using a basic, I think this is a baseball stitch. It's just very simple. I try to keep it as easy as possible because sewing is not my strong suit. I plan on furring the face like I mentioned earlier, but before I do that, I base coat everything in white so that just in case I miss any spots, you'll only see the white instead of gray. Say goodbye to the clay face and say hello to the he's in there somewhere. Let's go find him. And to do that, we are going to be using a pet shaver for all the trimming. And I use this, and I highly recommend this tool for anybody who wants to do any kind of art doll, anything, because it just gets fur off in bulk and very smoothly, evenly. And it comes with a bunch of different guards to get varying lengths of fur, and it's just an all-around great tool to have. But admittedly, it was a little bit too bulky to actually trim down the head and to make the snake appear again, so for that we're just going to go back in with scissors to make sure we get the nice detailed look. Now, admittedly again, the furring made it look more like a viper head than a ball python head, but you know what? Bite me. It's now just going to be a python. Python for the win! It's now time for the Python to get his colors, and for that I'm going to be using an airbrush. And let me tell you, this was the scariest part for me, and I put it off for as long as I physically could because I was so scared I was going to mess this up because snake patterns are very intricate, especially ball python patterns. And I was just so scared I was going to mess this up, and admittedly when I did that first color you saw there, oh my god, I thought it looked so bad. I was like, nope, I done messed this whole project up, I ruined it, it's the end, I'm gonna have to resew this, it's horrible. But then I remember this little trick where if you take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and you put it on a paper towel and you rub the fur down, it like makes the color lighten, and it also blends it all in, and it blends it into the faux fur, so it just looks a lot more even. And oh my god, that was such a necessary thing to do because this just looked a million times better once I got all that blended out. So tip for you there. And then I just went in and slowly airbrushed all the little patterns and stuff. I was just looking at a ton of, say it with me people, say it with me, references people, references, so many. I was looking at so many and I stared at them like, where do I start? Where do I go? Where do I begin? I don't know. It was so nerve-wracking, but I think it turned out really, really good. And obviously I wouldn't be posting this video if I thought it looked bad. So I think the end result looks good, but the entire time I was SpongeBob and Patrick just running around, and that was my brain just like, be careful, you're gonna mess it up. Oh my god, oh this looks nice, oh this looks bad, oh no. Just back and forth. It was a very nerve-wracking experience. But while I'll recover, I'll just let this play out and you guys can enjoy it. since most of the body was airbrushed, there's not really much painting for me to do except for the eyes and the tongue. And I did think to give him a little bit of color in his eyes, but when I did, it just looked a little weird and a little off, so I just decided to keep them simple and black. And we gotta paint that little black tongue. Oh, this was such a good idea. Just a little tongue, just... To really make them pop, I went over everything with a little bit of UV resin just to add a little bit more life so it didn't look so soulless. Y'all tell me in the YouTube comments that sometimes my pieces be looking soulless, so I gotta make sure there's some kind of life in them, so I gave them some UV resin. And once the UV resin was cured, this little bean was all done, and it was time to look at the final adorable montage.